Developed by EA DICE, the Battlefield series took a step back by taking players back to the First World War with Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, the 15th game in the Battlefield series, is an FPS game like the previous games. The game features fully detailed multiplayer packed with game modes, while players who buy the game also have a narrative campaign. The campaign features several different characters presenting their war stories from around the world. Multiple World War I games exist, but Beyond the Wire emphasizes teamwork and communication to achieve victory in battle. 100 players will be assigned to a match, then they'll be split into groups of 50 and then broken down further into squads. Finally, one player will be the commander of the battle and try to organize the troops to unleash clever tactics to take the day. As stated, communication is key. Work with your squad and your commander so that when you see something important, you tell them so everyone can adjust. Every soldier counts in battle, and every chance you take can help end the fight. The series of games that Isonzo belongs to have taken players to parts of World War I rarely seen in video games. In this case, we head to the Italian front near the Alps. It was here that a deadly set of battles took place that you'll be a part of. The vertical terrain is what set this offensive apart from the others in the war. You will be scaling up mountains and fortresses to attempt to dislodge the enemy from their positions. The battlefield can change depending on what happens on it. So use your tools and abilities to shape it to your needs, then use the weaponry of the time to take charge and lead your side to victory. Verdun is a first-person shooter based on the First World War. Players will fight within the trenches while using authentic weapons from the time period. Gameplay is intense and merciless with developers, showcasing a realistic World War I setting within the Western Front between 1914 and 1918. Since the game is set to be as realistic as possible for the time period, players will also be able to play with friends in a tactical squad-based game mode. You and your squad mates will go through battles within the trenches to fend off the enemy factions through the smog of dirt and gunpowder. Toy Soldiers is an action strategy title by developers Signal Studios. The video game plays out as miniature toy soldiers within a World War I setting. Players will find themselves inside a model diorama within various home locations such as a child's bedroom. Likewise, players will be able to control a variety of units and give commands in order to take down the enemy forces. Speaking of which, there are a total of 50 different units available to take control during the battles throughout the campaign. From the same development team that brought out Verdun, we have Tannenberg. This video game came out in 2019, which has the same style of gameplay as Verdun. However, here in this game, players are going through a war based around the Battle of Tannenberg, which took place in East Prussia. This 1914 battle is a first-person shooter that again the developers brought out weapons, equipment, battlefields, uniforms, to the injuries that a soldier would sustain authentically. Being a multiplayer game, players can get over 60 gamers together on PC or just 40 if on consoles. From there, players can expect a few video game modes to play which are based around capturing points, a standard style team deathmatch, or a free-for-all. Commander: The Great War is a title that highlights the entire war from 1914 to 1918. This is a turn-based strategy game that has players going through different battles with 5 start dates to pick from. From there, it's a fight to manage your resources and deal with a tricky AI opponent. Without a continuous campaign, players are starting up with different situations rather than players building up their XP or resources to make use of in the future. As a result, there's a bit of a change up to what you may have to research and build up for whatever the situation may call for. Trenches is a multiplayer combined arms first-person shooter set in an alternate history where World War I and World War II are known simply as the Greatest War. Build and upgrade bases, harvest resources, construct defenses, purchase weapons and vehicles, and push back the front. Every action you make will leave a lasting impact on the match. From trench lines, tunnels and barbed wire to craters and scorched forests, the entire world can be deformed and changed. In the game, you can build and upgrade your base from various categories, from ammunition factories to tank depots, and build defenses using a freeform building system. Although the game is currently in early access, it has managed to receive positive reviews from the communities. Valiant Hearts is Ubisoft's take on a game based around the Great War. The game focuses on 4 characters that grow closer together throughout the war as each attempt to save one another from the horrors that followed during the battles of World War I. Unlike the typical war-based video game, Valiant Hearts is a puzzle adventure where players must complete certain tasks which may require players to locate specific objects. Although within the mixture of puzzle-based levels, Valiant Hearts is broken up with sections of melee combat and time-based mini-games. Not only does Valiant Hearts have a touching story, but the gameplay is designed through Ubisoft's UbiArt framework, the in-house engine that was used to deliver Rayman Origins and Child of Light. Sprocket is a different kind of game you might find some interest in. This is a tank building game where you're customizing these massive mechanical vehicles. You'll have to make a variety of adjustments, whether it's for better mobility, armor, or simply the visuals of your tank. From there, you're actually able to take control of this tank and try it out by facing against AI tanks. It's a different type of a World War I video game, but still it's one that you can get some fun out of. That said, you can make some tanks that are more accurate to the vehicles that would be featured during the era, or get more creative with your own unique tank. Darkest Hour: A Hearts of Iron game is a real-time strategy title released in 2011. With that said, this title splits up 2 scenarios, which is one based around the Great War and World War II. When a scenario is selected, players are given different campaign missions which may be based around certain nations or operations. From there, it's up to the players to determine how they will build up their forces. For instance, you may decide to build up more troops, aircrafts, or naval warfare ships. Not only are players in an active battle, but they can make alliances as well to help you out in battles. Likewise, players could opt to build up their nation and alliance around a democratic policy or more of authoritarian control. Lovecraft comes Call of Cthulhu: The Wasted Land, a tactical RPG that released in 2012 for iOS, Android, and PC. This particular video game took a bit more fantasy-type storyline compared to other titles on this list. Instead of a traditional war setting, players take control of a team of investigators as they look into a conspiracy within the German army during World War I. Apparently, the German armies have started to reanimate corpses of their fallen soldiers to create a massive army of the living dead. As mentioned, this is a tactical RPG where players will use turn-based strategy combat, while also allowing gamers to upgrade stats through an action point system. Fans of Fire Emblem along with XCOM may take an interest in Call of Cthulhu: The Wasted Land. To End All Wars is a slightly advanced strategy title that is based within World War I. Players take control of a faction that attempts to overpower Europe. From there, it's all about maneuver troops around a map and strategize over a grand scheme to take out the other factions as they each expand their units in hopes to gain control of other nations and leaders. Fans of strategy-based video games may enjoy To End All Wars, though for newcomers, this game may require a steep learning curve in order to fully immerse themselves into the video game. NecroVisioN is an FPS that is set during the First World War. Players will take on the role of Simon Buckner, who is recruited into the British Army. During his journey within the war, Simon finds that he's not only having to battle against man, but a slew of mysterious supernatural forces. Players will be battling against zombies, vampires, and demons. It's certainly quite a step away from the traditional World War I setting that we may be used to, but it's a decent twist to give players something different to play around with. Victoria 2, much like To End All Wars, is a grand strategy video game. However, unlike To End All Wars, Victoria 2 takes place from 1836 through 1936. Players are given control of a 19th century state where they must oversee the nation through the dawn of the 20th century. Not only will players take part of wars such as World War I, they must also manage various aspects of the controlled state, which include political, diplomatic, economic, military, and even technological. Each action a player makes will have its consequences throughout the world that may benefit your particular nation or prove to be a fault that could cause battles to even a revolt of the nation's people.